I'm happy to take part in this event and tell you a story of how to build a mature UX strategy that will help you and your company to scale and grow. I have been working for the company named Allegro, which is one of the leading B2C e-commerce companies in Eastern and Central Europe. Even more, this is one of the world's top 10 e-commerce websites with 30 million active buyers. For me, personally, this is a long-term relationship. I have worked for Allegro for over 8 years. During this time, I had a chance to see how the company has grown. When I joined Allegro, there were less than 1,000 employees. Till now, it's like over 3,000, with nearly 1,500 to be recruited in 2021. Allegro is an adult now, but it wasn't not so long time ago. Can you imagine a 6-year-old kid, a tough negotiator, unlimited imagination, and a complete belief that everything is possible? Yeah, that was Allegro in its beginnings. Design was led by an intuition. I really liked when Allegro was a teenager. It had an opinion of its own and was pushing forward. 2011 was a breakthrough moment in terms of emergence of agile methodologies in organization. And then UX has become an important piece of the puzzle. Now, Allegro is a grown-up, but still quite young. We have recently entered the stock exchange. Design is very important and sets the differentiators, meaning customer value in gaining market advantage against the giants. The fact that the organization is mature means that the customer, human in broader sense, is taken into account when deciding on the direction of the company. The customer voice, together with business and technology, shapes the vision, mission, and the company's strategy. To illustrate the path we went through to become a grown-up, I will use the UX maturity model introduced in 2006 by Jacob Nielsen. Although this model applies to UX, for me, in fact, it refers to every aspect of building an organization around the needs of its customer. So please use it however you think it will be helpful to you. It starts with almost total UX design ignorance and end up with a design embedded into company's DNA. But please note, not every business must hit the top level, like, for example, Apple does. Being engaged or committed is perfectly enough. For example, this applies to the marketplace. The crucial thing to diagnose where you are now and sets the goal for the future. And for Allegro, we were somewhere near interested, but now we are between invested and committed. It often takes years to get to the next level due to the fact that it requires a change in the culture and the identity of the company. In other words, the goal of UX design in Allegro is to be not only a process or resource, but a foundation for technology and business. And for me, this actually means to be a grown-up. So how do we manage to drive an impact? How to become mature, in other words? I'll share some thoughts with you based on my experience and from the perspective of research and data. These are the following. First, think big, but act local. Have high ambitions and take inspiration from the giants, but act specifically to the needs of the environment. Second, find the way to sit at the table. Do not wait for an invitation, but invite yourself to the product development process. Third, take chance as your opportunity. Analyze your surroundings, near and far. See what can help you to achieve your goals. So think global, act local. You can do the best research in the world, but your job is also to make everyone understand and use the output. Therefore, for me, local has two uses here. External, this is obvious. It concerns how we research and analyze the environment. And internal, as a way of targeting actions and the communication to a specific audience. So let's start with the external local. Allegro was always a synonym of buying online in Poland. In 1999, when it was founded, in Poland, only 5.5% of the population had access to the internet, and no one knew what buy now meant. Just to compare, in UK at the time, it was over 20%. So the Allegro taught people in Poland how to shop online, and we are attached to each other by a common history. However, this does not allow us to underestimate our competitors, especially right now. This is why we constantly conduct research and data analysis to show us what is important. But we also do not forget to look ahead and use generative research methods. Evaluation helps us to improve the experience on the platform, and generative research, as well as predictive and prescriptive analysis, drives the business into the future. I always compare it to the psychology, where the first one is a treatment and the second one is like a self-development. And what this internal local means. You need to stay focused on your allies within the organization to help to take UX to the next level. You are not a lonely island. All you need is to get to know who your stakeholders are, research their needs, and adapt activities as well as communication to them. The rest will follow, as one of the giants of the Silicon Valley says. It calls research the research. I call it like this. So what we did in practice. First step was to set a territory map. This is an extremely helpful framework that sets all the stakeholders in 2 dimensions: interest or engagement, and power/impact. Have a look at the slide. Promoters, people with whom you work closely, your superior, Scrum Master, Scrum team, product owner, they need to be your corporate best friends. Latents, stakeholders with great power, but have less direct interest and engagement, like your C-level. You need to attract their attention and meet their needs. Defenders, this group is actually very interesting. They are engaged, but do not make decisions directly to your product. It can be, for example, your sales department. So keep them up to date. And apathetic or better lethargic, they are not engaged, no impact, but you never know when they will help you. So next step is to fine-tune research and analysis to a given audience. So promoters, make sure to systemize work with this group. Provide them with a tactical and operational data that they can use in their activities. Stay informed and understand the problems that they face every single day. You must be their wingman or a partner at work. Latents, this group requires a completely different way of communicating. Imagine your CEO holding the whole company on his shoulder, not just your piece. Here, you have to decide for yourself what will be the most important to present and will make the biggest difference for the company. And the second, in Allegro, we have a set of metrics that take a helicopter view of the business, how the business is going. And please, NPS, it's not enough. You need to have a set of complex metrics that monitor the experience of your product, like task success, engagement, and so forth. And defenders, we inform them about the most important things in so-called research letter. Apathetics, find the research enthusiasts among them. It can be your IT support team that will help to implement some research tool. It's important to have in mind that your goal, above all else, is to make latents your promoters. Find your way to sit at the table. The problem here is that in the company, everyone is right and everyone is wrong at the same time. What I mean is that each person is convinced that their ideas are the leading ones, but too many cooks spoil the broth. So it's essential to have a common ground and to be very clear about your place, as well as understand others. Some time ago, we did a product development playbook. We put together everything we had done well and crossed out what was ineffective. The most important thing was that the process was redesigned by representatives of different roles: developer, designer, researcher, product owner, communication specialist. It's not that we all now work exactly as it is written down in the playbook, but we have a central rule set. We call it a cooperation contract. We also know more about each other. What can we expect from each other? It was a difficult and tough exercise, actually. As for research and data analysis, they are embedded in the process, and knowledge is a crucial driving force. I intentionally stress knowledge here. It's better to say that your company is knowledge-driven, not data-driven. You may have a lot of data and not be able to use it, but this is a common problem that we are facing in our century, actually. Okay, third, we have possibilities around us, but sometimes we simply don't notice them. It's a good practice to recognize all the resources that can help you achieve your goal. I remember that during one of the MBA classes, I received a good advice to treat my team as my own company. It was then that I realized that, in fact, all strategic planning tools that I apply to the whole organization, I can apply to a small part of it, my team. The first exercise I did was to embed the team in the context of the entire organization, estimating its resources, capabilities, competencies, and so forth. Then I visualized how the team is related to the nearest and farthest environment. There are some helpful frameworks that I use to make the external and internal analysis of the team. And two use cases from Allegro. Internal, organizational transformation. The internal analysis that we did allowed us to learn about our strength as a whole team, but also to better understand our role in the organization. Our superpowers as a team are centrally broad competencies. We do not close ourselves in our role. We often play the role of a service designer, facilitator, a product manager. And thanks to this, during the last transformation of the organization, we were able to settle well in the structure. And this helps us to have a greater impact. And second, the external use case. The best example here is the pandemic, which accelerates many of processes we started implementing earlier. This virus mobilized us to intensify remote research and search for new methods. In such a dynamic workplace, the goal, of course, is to be as agile as possible. So, key takeaways from this presentation. But first, a homework for you. Evaluate at which stage of UX design/design maturity your company is. Think where you want to be and set goal for it. Think about what makes you stand out locally. What are your strengths and how can you beat the giants? Act locally. Also, when it comes to stakeholders' needs. Target your activities as well as of your communication. Find a way to sit at the table. Use any tool that helps you to be heard, not to be left out. And then, last but not least, monitor your surroundings. And if you see any new opportunities for yourself, go and get them. You will find some helpful tools in this presentation, and if you want to deep dive any topic, please contact me. Cheers.